Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. What's up, people? My name is Tim Black. Welcome back to the Tim Black Show. We're in the house. We're in the house. We're in the house. Everything's okay? Okay, we're in this place. All right. Yo, what's up? I want to say what's up to my people on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, Twitter. Welcome back to the show, man. It's great to be here on a Friday night, rocking it with my people. I want to say what's up to my people on YouTube, the Tim Black Wolfpack on YouTube. What's up, guys? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Give it up for them. Black Mamba. Black Mamba. That's Mamba. Black Mamba and none other than Buck Bewley in the house. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all holding it down, doing the moderating. And I want to thank all the Tim Black Wolfpack members, man, that come through my list of members. Let's run that. The people that keep us in the business on a Friday night. You guys. My people, my people, my people, my people. Yeah, we're here. We are here. Man. So, yeah. Black Mamba's right, guys. Don't forget, come over. Come over, get one of these cups. The Tim Black Legacy mug. We're going to work something out on these mugs, too. I think what we're going to do is people that become members of the Tim Black Show are going to get a mug. But I got to work out what range you have to become a member. So, yeah. But we're going to work something out where it's going to be a perk for just being a VIP. Yeah, man. I mean, people can get mugs anywhere. I don't think it's the hottest item in the world. And, for, people, I don't know, maybe people got all the mugs they wanted. And people were saying they were going to get them. Maybe things have changed. But I think as a perk, as a member, I think they'll do better. Let me know if you think that makes sense, guys. If you're likely to become a member of the show, if you get a mug. There it is. That's like your brother Tim Black is over here innovating. So tonight we got some news items. Let me let people know what's up with the show. This is a political news show. We cover political news, we cover breaking news and Black culture. We do that all here right on the Tim Black Show. Tune in to see us. Subscribe. Become a member at patreon.com. Tim's Take Live. That's patreon.com. Tim's Take Live. Get a mug at timblackmug.com. Independent media, man. Happy Friday, Arlene Chambers. Thank you, Arlene. Yeah. How many of you, well, I guess I could just say, look, all of us are probably, I could say most people are a little fed up with the way news gets told in America. You wouldn't be watching an independent news channel. You'd be watching CNN or, God forbid, MSNBC. Or maybe Fox News. I don't know. And maybe most of our people, they watch independent media exclusively when it comes to news content. Maybe they catch, some of the streaming services for movies and shows that they're into. But I think for the most part, we've all kind of got to the point where we understand you get what you pay for. And that's where we are kind of at. Well, one of the stories I'd like to get to at the top here, and we did this last night. I think we started with this last night. But we did cover the issue of the fires that are breaking out in LA. We did talk about those fires. And I wanted people to understand some things about those fires. And I wanted people to get a better understanding of where what's being said. Now, I played a couple clips yesterday about the fires, about Gavin Newsom, his response to the fires, Karen Bass, her lack of response, or what seemed like insufficient response, looked like a deer in headlights response to being questioned about the fires. So we covered all that. Okay, that's fine. And one of the issues that people had was they felt that the fire department, when I say the fire department, not just talking about firefighters, but not just firefighters, also ranking people in the fire department. So there was too much of an initiative to diversify the rankings of the fire department. Yeah, they were saying it was too much of that was going on, and that was part of the reason why. In fact, they were blaming the fire or the out of control nature of the fire, the damage of the fire, the inability to just, rid us of the fire, to put the fire out immediately, on lack of resources. So if I go to LA Fire and I go to, I don't know, LAFD. Yeah, I'm gonna go LAFD. And I'm looking for, here we go, and I found it immediately. And it's none other than Charlie Kirk. Okay, so let me see if I don't know if I can isolate this picture, but let's try, Johnson. Here we go. So they were saying, hey, part of the problem is we diversified things to the point where now we diversified ourselves into a hell where we have people that are unqualified for the job. And that's due to not getting the best person for the job, but not letting that be the priority, but letting diversification, in this case, women, become the main character, the main priority, the top deciding factor if you're going to be working there. So let me show you this. So I saw this, folks. And you start looking this up on Twitter, you may get to this as well. So this is kind of not the best picture, but you see the image of the 3 fire people. I don't necessarily understand who the rank is here. I'm not sure how they rank, but one's a fire department chief, one's a assistant, and one's something else, but also has rank. So, and they're all named Kristen. That's crazy, 3 Kristens. And I don't know if that was just something that just accidentally happened. If it was 3 Marks, white guys wouldn't be complaining. If it was 3 Marks or three, what's a good white name? 3 Todds. I don't know if I ever met a black guy named Todd. But if it was 3 white guys named Todd, nobody'd be talking. But we know how this works, right? This has been the culture war the last few years has been diversity, DEI. Before that, it was affirmative action. It was all these things. And it hasn't changed. It's just morphed, and it's out of control. So anyway, they're using that in the fire department. Or the talking point is that, hey, if we had more guys, instead of being worried about guys getting jobs, particularly white guys, then maybe the fire would be out by now, and maybe a lot of people's property would be saved by now, and yada, 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 yada. Here's the thing, guys. When people are unhappy, people get to complain. Let me say that one more time a little slower. When people are unhappy, they get to complain. They don't have to be right with their complaints. When people lose their homes, they get the right to be disgusted. They get the right to be upset about that. You don't get to choose if they're upset. The only way that you could have avoided this catastrophe is to make sure things run smoothly and to plan for the unexpected. So that if something goes wrong, you're not going to take the fall for it. Who else is going to take the fall for it? The mayor? Yeah, the mayor's going to take the fall for it. The governor's not going to take the fall for it. The mayor's going to take the fall for it. So in this case, that would be Karen Bass. So once again, referring back to that picture, remember, we had 3 Kristens. All 3 Kristens, 2 white, 1 mixed, it appears. And, yeah. And people were blaming these 3 individuals. Well, guess what happened today? Instead of just letting the blame be where it is, one of those Kristens decided they wanted to speak up and defend themselves and defend the department and defend all the firefighters that work under her employ. She stepped up and she made some noise. Here she is in her first interview. I don't know who this is with. I think we'll find out.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Chief Kristen Crowley, I believe the anchors wanted to ask a question back there, had some comments.
We do, Gigi. If you could please ask her regarding the Times article that came out that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was closed to repairs and it was empty. 117 million gallons of water.
Hold on a second, guys. I want to make the I gotta make the distinction here. This police chief, I'm sorry, this fire chief, Kristen Crowley. She just said something I don't think I usually hear when it comes to these interviews. She gave a yes or no answer. She tried to fight off for a second. Like for 2 seconds, she was like, hey, I just need what our department needs. That's what I'm here to talk about, what we need done. But when the reporter went back at her the second time, it said, have they failed you, yes or no? She paused, she took a breath, and she said the things. After that, all that needs to be said has been said already. The conversation is pretty much over because she's given us exactly what we needed to know. In her estimation, the problems or the reasons why the fires have been so devastating. Part of that is due to the fact that the fire department, the fire department just has not been given what they've been needing in order to meet the needs of the people.
Article that came out that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was closed to repairs and it was empty. 117 million gallons of water could have been used in this fight.
The question is about the Santa Ynez Reservoir being empty. There's been a lot of questions about that.
Sure. So my stance on this is when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped. That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants. Please defer that to DWP or whomever controls that part. But I can tell you the resiliency of our firefighters, if there's no water, they're going to go find water. They're going to figure out a way to do the best they can with what they've got in a very dynamic situation.
And I know you expressed concerns that those DWP hydrants would not be inspected thoroughly because of the budget cuts.
That is something to discuss, and we're going to look into that in regard to how we can ensure there's going to be water when we need it. But in the end, I'm going to defer that to DWP and whomever else controls the supply. I can guarantee you that when our firefighters showed up on that day with what they had, they did absolutely everything they could do to rescue and to save people's lives and property. And that's the bottom line. Now let's get them what they need to do their jobs. And so
let's get them water, Chief, because I was with your firefighters and they literally were watching a house burn down with pain in their eyes, not being able to do anything except pull water from a swimming pool to try to save a nearby structure that wasn't burning, and literally watching a house burn to the ground because they had no water.
That's exactly right. But did they continue to work? And did they continue to do what they had to do the best they could with what they had? Yes.
Chief, follow-up. Thank you very much for talking to us. We appreciate it. I believe we have a follow-up question from the studio.
Question on that reservoir issue. Is the fire department aware of when these resources are depleted, just like that reservoir had no water? Was she aware of that fact, that it was under construction and there was no water there?
Sandra Endo, one of our anchors, wants to know if the department is advised that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was going to be emptied. Were you aware that there was no water there?
No, we weren't aware of that.
They don't have to advise you?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So you had no idea that there wasn't such needed resource?
No, we weren't.
All right. Chief Kristen Crowley, again, Chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department. Thank you for talking to us. I know it's been a very exhaustive, emotional, and I imagine you're mad, and I imagine you're sad. You may not want to talk about that anger or that disappointment, but I can see it in your eyes. Thank you. Thank you for talking to us.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll send it back to you.
Well,
Period.
guys.
Did the city of Los Angeles feel you and your department and our city?
My bad.
It's my job to
That's a pretty straightforward interview. Like I stated earlier, it doesn't leave a lot to the imagination. I want to clip things up with the acronym. The DWP that she referred to is in charge of making sure those reservoirs are full. That's the Department of Water and Power. Department of Water and Power. She also mentioned that if it wasn't for the budget cuts, it's a possibility the water would have been there, and also would have been a possibility they would have inspected or had those inspected to know that there was no water there. So we got a couple of issues. We got lack of water. We got lack of logistics. We got firemen who've been called out to stop a fire, go to a hydrant, and find that there's no water in the hydrant. That's not the fireman's fault. Not the fireman's fault at all. So that was a local Fox affiliate where Chief Los Angeles Fire Department Chief Kristen Crowley was responding to. Let's go see her on CNN. She made additional rounds.
To be clear, the $17 million budget cut and the elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So with that, we have over 100 fire apparatus out of service, and having these apparatus in the proper amount of mechanics would have helped. And so it did absolutely negatively impact. I want to also be clear that I have, over the last 3 years, been clear that the fire department needs help. We can no longer sustain where we are. We do not have enough firefighters. With that, I have also requested multiple budgets, interim budgets, to show how understaffed, under-resourced, and underfunded the LAFD is. So with that, also, we have clear data that shows the LAFD needs more help. We need 62 more fire stations. These reports also show that we've had a 55% increase in overall call volume since 2010. And guess what? We're doing it with less firefighters. I was also directed to develop a plan as part of a budget reduction exercise, and that could equate to $48.8 million. And I rang the bell that these additional cuts could be very, very devastating for our ability to provide public safety. That would have resulted to 15 fire stations closing down and potentially the elimination of over 300 firefighters. Again, I want to be clear that I submitted a very large budget that will actually allow our firefighters to do their job.
Okay. Wow, once again, it appears to be a very straight shooter. I think some of the criticism that was at least laid at the feet of Kristen Crowley here, the chief, that was pretty much immature. Seems like maybe the people that were making those accusations were doing so basically because they're bigots. Basically because they may have a little misogyny going on. Because she sounds like she's on top of her job. There may be a woman that failed at her job, but that woman may be the mayor. And God forbid, it may have been a man that failed at his job. And that man may be Gavin Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom. Let's just, let's take a second here, guys. I want to make sure we understand. $17 million. That's how much was cut from the budget, which she says does impact services because that's less that they have to work with. In fact, she has a number for that. 100 fire apparatus. 100 pieces of fire apparatus. I don't know what that is. I don't know what fire apparatus is. We're talking about hoses. We're talking about equipment, trucks. What are we talking about? It's a resource. It's unavailable. She says the LAFD Los Angeles Fire Department was underfunded and it needs more help. They need at least 62 more fire stations. 50% call volume was up, and they've been doing that with less firefighters. They've been needing more firefighters. She's been ringing the bell. She put together a large budget. It's been submitted that would cover all of the costs. I can tell you one thing that she's doing that I do admire, and that is you got to strike when the iron is hot. Yeah, you can't pull punches because you got a female mayor named Karen Bass. You can't pull punches because Gavin Newsom's a really nice guy and he's got great hair. And he does a great acting job. Now, that's not a reason to pull punches. When you're fighting for the people, you got to go in, you got to kick ass, you got to take names. And it's okay if you misspell some of the names in the process. That's what you got to do. So, I said this earlier yesterday. I was saying how, it doesn't seem to me how there could ever be a system in the LA Fire Department or a circumstance where there would be a lack of diversity when it comes to fires or firefighters. Because as I recall, they love using prison labor. Well, I was right about that, but also it's a little bit more complicated. So here, the Los Angeles Fire Department does use prison labor, okay? And it's horrific that they do that. And I was correct. It is predominantly Black Americans and Latinos that do these fires, that fight these fires. Because the male inmates who make up the majority of participants, though there are several female inmate fire camps, there are female inmate fire camps, there's nothing in comparison to how many male fire camps there are in the prisons. High representation of Black men and Hispanics reflect broader racial disparities in California's prison system. They're mostly younger adults. It requires physical fitness and stamina. So you got to be in pretty good shape, just like you would have to be if you were a fireman trying to get into the fire department itself. Only inmates convicted of lower-level nonviolent offenses are eligible, and participants must exhibit good behavior, and pass physical requirements in order to participate. Physical fitness requirements. Career firefighters in California's fire departments have historically shown significant demographic disparities. The workforce has been predominantly white. That's 65 to 70%. Predominantly, it would be very hard not to find a man, because 95% of firefighters are men. And from middle class backgrounds. Now, California has a diverse background. It has diverse representation. 15 to 20% Hispanic, despite making up 40% of California's population. Black firefighters, let's talk about the firefighter. Let's talk about demographics when it comes to firefighters. I don't have LA's demographics. So there are a lot more Hispanic firefighters, for instance, 15 to 20%. Black firefighters, 3 to 5%. Asian firefighters, am I reading this correctly? Well, I guess this is just the makeup of the people that are hired to be firemen. Yeah, that's what it is. So when it comes to being hired to be a fireman and being in a prison fire camp and being allowed to fight fires, that's a different story. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, we got an issue here with disparity with the hiring practices of the Los Angeles Fire Department. There may be, but they're not filling them with anybody. They got empty seats to begin with. So they had this initiative that they wanted to hire more women, because historically there's a low access of women into the fire department. That's just across the board, okay? Whether they're inmates or whether they're people being hired off the street of private citizens. But there's also a disparity of who they hire as private citizens. Now, I don't know if that's because they're not applying, or I don't know if that's because they're just not getting hired. So those are a couple points I wanted to make as we move a little bit further down this road. There's been several discrimination lawsuits and settlements in recent years regarding hiring practices, workplace treatment, which have pushed some departments to reform their recruitment and promotion processes. So here's another thing I want to talk about. Look, and as much, I got no problems going after people that I feel, the super duper liberals, the porcelain progressives, the people that are doing things and saying things because they sound right, but they haven't done any of the legwork to find out, hey, is this actually functional on the ground? See, I'm cool for us to say we need more black people fighting fires, but give me the data that shows that they're trying to fight fires, and we're talking about private citizens who are making this their career. And it looks like we have that. I will not defend bigotry. I will not defend racism. I will not defend discrimination. So these programs that I heard Scott Jennings talk about on the program with Jasmine Crockett, I played that clip yesterday. He brought up that they had programs to eliminate white men from firefighting. Now they had, and I stated yesterday, no, there was a program to try to get more people, to try to get someone other than white men, because there has been discrimination lawsuits against the Los Angeles Fire Department for its treatment and hiring practices. So they didn't develop a program because they felt nice. Scott's got it wrong. And a lot of people I saw talking about this have it wrong. They didn't start these initiatives because they got the warm and fuzzies and they wanted to go get a bunch of blacks or Latinos. These programs were started, at least a portion of them were started to mitigate lawsuits. Yeah, they didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, we need to diversify this place. Get us a new coat of paint. They did it as a response and a reaction and maybe the condition of a law settlement. Okay. So more than one thing can be true at the same time, right? One is we have a horrific practice in LA of using inmates to fight forest fires, wildfires, fires of this nature. That's one issue. The other issue is we have a lack of money in the budget. Budget monies were cut from the budget of the fire department, and lo and behold, we're in a catastrophe. And guess what we don't have? Resources. And this happens sometimes. You make cuts on something, you think, hey, you know what? Rob Peter to pay Paul. And then Peter wants his damn money, and you already paid Paul. And now Peter has to wait. But guess what? Paul's ready to break your legs. And that's what's happening in current bass. And I'm not going to feel bad for it. I'm not telling you to make you feel bad for that, because that was a decision. You could say, hey, anything that deals with life and death, and there's been 10 deaths due to these fires, and people's entire lives up in smoke. Karen Bass could have came in with an initiative in her head and said, you know what? I'm not going to cut anything that has to do with life and death. I don't care what these people tell me. I don't care what the folks that are already in power are telling me. I don't care what my chief of staff is saying. I don't care what advice they give me. These are certain things I'm just not going to cut, because I'm not going to come back and be the one with my butt in a sling because I listen to you guys. Because the person that's going to fall on the blade will be moi. This is a grown person's game. Karen Bass is a grown woman. She made that decision. If she did make that decision and it stops with her, if the buck does stop with her, the buck does stop with her. So this idea that, oh, they're attacking her and we need to all go fight for her, I don't play that game. Nah, I don't play that game. You don't cut fire departments and then there's a fire and there's no resources or not enough resources, and then everybody acts like, oh my God, the bigots are coming for me, the bigots are coming for me. No, the people that are hurt are coming for you. The bigots or your competition, the other side of the aisle, they're going to use whatever they can use on you. But if you don't give them the keys to drive you, they can't take you nowhere. That's what the old guy used to tell me on the block, man. Called him Crab. Because he talk like this. He's a talk like this. They tell, man, come on, preach. Preach. It's like I tell you, preach. If you don't give them the keys, they can't take you nowhere. You know, I was a youngin' trying to figure life out. So in this situation, what I'm saying is, if Karen Bass had dropped the ball, if the mayor's office hadn't dropped the ball, if there wasn't a $17 million cut, if people did pay attention to what was happening with the amount of the lack of resources in the fire department, if there were the 62 other stations, 62 other fire stations that need to be in place that aren't in place, if those things were taken care of, then there would be nothing to come get her about. Folks, it's kind of hard to hide that when there's a fire, people are screaming, and everyone's standing around looking at the houses burn, and the fire department's there, and they can't get a fucking hydrant that has water in it. You can't fake that. That's not bipartisan or partisan. That's not Democrat or Republican. That's survival. That's real life stuff. And some people got their head up their asses. Everything's about political points. If it was your house, it was your mama's house, because you must not care about yourself. Nothing happens to you, so you can't imagine. But let's say maybe it's your mama's house, or your daddy's house, or your cousin's house, or your grandparents' house. And everything that they spent their life building is going up in smoke. Would you still be blaming Trump then? Would you still be talking about, oh, that Rudy Giuliani? What the hell you got to do with it? He's in New York. To add insult to injury, we got Joe Biden. I don't know why Joe Biden wants to talk. Folks, hey, come on, 21st. Come on, 21st. We do not need to hear more from Joe. But here he is anyway. Defending empty hydrants.
Federal agency, from the Department of Defense on, every federal agency to be part of this. And the other thing is, look, you know, I think you're getting a bad rap. I know you're getting a bad rap about these fire hydrants don't have enough water in them. Give me a break. Give me a break. What this is all about is the utilities, understandably, what they did is they cut off power because they're worried about these high tension lines coming down and causing more fires in the wind, right? When they do that, guess what? They shut off the power that controls the ability to pump the water. And so now you're getting generators here. I mean, this is complicated stuff. They're going to have a lot of demagogues out there trying to take advantage of it. But you're doing the right thing. We're going to get it done, God willing. And I say to the people of Southern California, God bless you. Stay strong. Stay strong. We're not going anywhere. We're not.
No, you are going somewhere, sir. You're going somewhere very soon. And if it's not the upper room, it's the hell out of here. Because I'm tired of hearing Joe Biden with his no ideas, no plan, no leadership, unfunctional, infunctioning, lack of functionality, opposite Swiss Army knife approach to problems. He ain't a Swiss Army knife. He's a Chinese knockoff that never worked. You open the box and all the blades are broke. Listen. A water hydrant, pretty simple. You turn the knob, the water comes on. Don't talk to me about all the things behind the scenes that aren't working correctly. There's a water reservoir that's empty, Joe. It's empty. We got Gavin Newsom sitting back there with nothing to say. We got Karen Bass with her hair in pigtails like she's a little girl and she don't know what the hell is going on. These people get elected, they should not be elected. That's what happens. People faith and function, they're really serious about this job, and then they come in and they can't do the job. Or they come in and they play corrupt games. They're getting a bad rap. See, they're all still playing political games, man. We're talking about people's lives, people's livelihoods, their lives, everything that they've owned, all their memories, all their material goods, everything gone. We got this guy talking about we're getting a bad rap about the fire hydrants. Is there water in it or not? How many fire hydrants were empty? Hey, look, man, I'm not saying the current bass caused the fire. Obviously, she did not. She did not do that, okay? But what I'm saying is, the buck stops here and it fell in your lap, and there you go. And that's how it happens sometimes. Hey, man, she could have went her entire mayoral tenure, and there not been a fire this catastrophic. Or it could have been a smaller one, and they're like, uh-oh, we got all these things we better shore up. We got lucky, we dodged the bullet. But sometimes you don't get the grace of fortune. Sometimes you get a taste of a complete ass kicking, and that's what took place here. It's like hell opened up and unleashed the Kraken. And that's what we got going on. And the people that are surviving that, the people that just saw their world disappear into that hole, into that abyss, they're not giving you a bad rap. They need help. And that's your job. I don't know if you know or not, but there's Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law says anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And sometimes going wrong be going wrong. All right, guys. Give me a thumbs up for that. We'd like to go on to the next one. We talked about this yesterday, right? We talked about it. We said there was a story out there saying that the USA Today had met with Joe Biden, did an interview, and during that interview, he said, "Hey, I still got it. I should still be the guy that was running. I should have never had to sit down. I had it. I could have done it. I would have done it. If it just would have let me have the ball, I would have ran it in the house." He did his best Al Bundy playing for Polk High routine. Oh, back in the day when I had the ball, when I used to be able to run. Yeah, we all used to be younger, Joe. That's how life works. Then we're not one day. And we go, damn, what happened? I remember when I used to look like a young Kumo D. Now I look like old Kumo D. My dad used to say that. R.I.P. Moose, I'm still representing. Still representing, Moose. Listen. Yeah. So Joe Biden said this today. It's out of his mouth, man. He said it.
Mr. President, do you regret your decision to run for re-election? Do you think that that made it easier for your predecessor to now become your successor?
I don't think so. I think I would have beaten Trump, could have beaten Trump, and I think that Kamala could have beaten Trump and would have beaten Trump.
Hey, hold on. Hold everything. Hold everything. Ding, ding. Ding. Remember, I don't know how the buses are now because they're all new technological buses, but I remember when you had to pull this little string that was attached to a bell that ran all the way to the front where the driver was. When it was your time to get off the bus, you had to ring that bell, and if you didn't, well, you'd miss your stop. So you just pull the string, it hits the bell, and ring, ring, and that's time to get out. This would be when it's time for Joe Biden to get out. I don't know a nicer way to say it, Joe. Pull the damn string, Joe. Just pull it. Just pull it. Just pull it. Listen, folks. Joe Biden just told you that he could have beat Trump. Now, that's crazy talk. Because he was so far in the polls, he wasn't even registering on the polls anymore. Yeah, it was so cold, the thermometer broke. That's how cold it was. The mercury wasn't registering. The mercury was freezing up. It's like, wow, this has never happened. The thermometer's too cold to tell us what the temperature is on your buzz, Joe. Everything coming in about you, Joe, is negative. You can't run this race. Donors decided, hey, we want our money back. So that's bad enough. We got Joe Biden saying he could have beat Trump. Okay, fine. People talk smack. I could have let him. I could have had him. I could have had him if you just let me. That's what every fighter says after they got knocked out. You know? Oh, you guys, if you could have stopped holding me, I would have got him. Fine. But what's worse than that, much worse than that, is when you say the person that did fight him could have beat him too. Somebody tell Joe that she lost. Yeah, someone tell Joe when he says Kamala could have beat Trump, that doesn't sound right because she didn't beat Trump. No, she lost very, very much. She didn't just lose, she lost. Okay? It wasn't even close. So Joe saying that she could have won is crazy. Which is a little scary, which leads me back to my other point. People will say that Joe Biden was the sharpest nail in the sharpest saw, the sharpest knife in the drawer. And here he is here telling you that Kamala could have beat Trump. And we know she didn't beat Trump. And that's also pointing us back to the previous question, which started it all. Even if Joe Biden could have beat Trump, and if he would have beat Trump, he did have the duty of governing. If he's going to govern any way the same way that he answers this question, well, he can't remember that his vice president ran and that he was not in it and she lost. If he doesn't know that, I wonder what he would have done if he was given another 4 years. Maybe hand it off to Kamala. All right, guys. I'm going to leave it there. There's really not much more to say. Sometimes things stink. They just do. They just do. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's move on. Let's get off Joe. Let's get off this whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry. We got Morning Joe, where they want to talk about, oh, he could have won, he could have won. This is crazy. I'll play a little bit of it just so you know, because I know there's always people saying, Tim, who is saying that Joe could have won? No one's saying that, Tim Black. Why do you keep talking about this, Tim Black? No one's saying it but you. God, Tim Black. There's always people doing that. Just because no one you know is saying something doesn't mean no one's saying it. There are people saying all types of crazy stuff. There are people saying the earth is flat. There are people saying that that Bigfoot does exist. They say that Tupac is still alive. They say Jimmy Hoffa never died. There's all types of stuff. There was no moon landing. The COVID vaccine worked great. There are people saying all types of crazy stuff. Okay? So you got to just wrap your head around this idea, man. Okay? Dr. Umar's a great leader. People say all types of nutty things. They say all types of nutty things. The Fat Joe was right when he said that Latinos invented hip hop. People say all types of crazy stuff, man. You know, so don't tell me I'm making it up. I'm not making it up. Here goes Morning Joe, and they're going to make the argument that Joe Biden could have won too.
Yeah, I'll have been right, so I'm just going to wait for that conversation. So,
well, no,
thank you, Susan, for that.
You give your theory that you think he could have won.
Look, everyone knows how I feel. I made it very clear after the debate that I thought he should continue, but that was not what most people wanted. So, but Joe Biden is the kind of person who pulls himself up from rock bottom, and I think he could have stumbled into it. I really do. People responded very badly when he beat Trump during that campaign to Trump bullying him or going after his remaining son. People stood up for Joe Biden because they knew who he was. They know who he is. And I think an aging Joe Biden is very self-aware about that, and so is his team around him. And he's still 10 times more qualified than what we've got. And he's qualified to manage the world stage. I think after that disastrous debate, he did a news conference. Remind me, Lemire, was it the NATO summit?
Yeah, a couple weeks later. NATO summit was
at
in Washington.
8 at night. And yep, he got names wrong. Yep, he had to correct himself a few times. But his knowledge of world affairs was in depth and clear and generated exactly what was the reality, that this guy could manage the many different hotspots around the world. And people chose to, filters instead of reality, which was his good president who has historic presidency, who was able to beat Donald Trump.
Okay. Two things. First is, someone must have put some crack in your Botox. It's got to suck. Your life must suck to be that drunk this early in the day. I thought Morning Joe was done in the morning. Oh, that's right, you're still hungover from yesterday. That's got to be what that is. Ain't nothing else make you say such crazy stuff. Yeah, it's got to be something. I don't know what's going on with you and Joe. Diddy parties? Listen, man. Anybody that says that Joe should have continued after the devastating showing that he did in that debate, that debate, he planned for that for weeks. He sequestered him and his team for an entire week. We did back to back. And then he came out and he didn't remember anything. And that's telling us. And we now know that he was diminished beyond diminished. He was a disappearing ink that you put down on a piece of paper. And it didn't come back. He disappeared. And what does that say about you? What does that say about Morning Joe? What does that say about MSNBC? It says that's why you got to go away. That's why your job should go away. And all of the butt kissing will not help you. I don't know why Joe wanted you to tell his story. I want to run away as far as possible from that point at all, considering what we know now. And for the record, to say, hey, just because he ate the dingus on national TV in front of the world stage during a debate, it's no big deal because he went and did a nightclub 2 weeks later and he almost got most of the words right. Hey, that's not the same thing, and that doesn't make up for it. Okay? Not even close. If Beyonce comes out to Madison Square Garden, splits her pants, falls down the stairs drunk, and can't remember her words, but then she goes to a dive somewhere in Bethesda, Maryland, and does 15 minutes, hitting all the notes. No one's going to give a flying flint because Madison Square Garden is Madison Square Garden. And you can't fall and cave in at Madison Square Garden in front of the world. And it's televised live to the world. It's over. Oh, they played great. Well, they stunk it up at the Super Bowl, but they had a scrimmage 3 weeks later where they almost threw all the passes and touchdowns. Come on, give me a break, man. I mean, this is laughable, man. It's a joke. I mean, but we're not talking about scoring points for your political party. We're talking about running the damn country. These people are a laughing stock. They're an embarrassment to they're an embarrassment to the field that I wanted to enter so badly, folks. When I was a kid, man, I was a writer. Man, I was a writer since I was 10. I was a writer and a public speaker. Man, I wanted to do this my entire life. And I couldn't. I had to go make sure I could take care of my family, make the bills. And as soon as I had an opportunity, I got back to it. And these people like Mika Brzezinski, who have had the luxury of being in a field that you could be broke for 10 years. You could be broke for 10 years writing for local newspapers, not making anything. I know I was. But I couldn't afford to live that life. But she could because she's living off her daddy money, her family money. So was Scarborough. And these people get to suck. They get not to take journalism serious. They get to take commentating unseriously. Everything about them is unserious. And even worse than that, it's corrupt, it's backhanded, it's a scam, it's a scheme, it's a strategy. They're hired hands, they're hacks, they're shields. And there's no way you defend a president who doesn't have the faculties to be president. President's got to be able to president. Now, I don't know all the words, the etymology of the word president, but I do know what present means. That means you have to be here. And Joe was not here. All right. All right, guys, let's go to the next segment. Some people say, Tim Black, you know what's happened? You know what's happened? Comedy. Comedy's gone down the tubes because of the damn left. Now, sometimes I get in arguments with people about what left is because they don't understand it. They just hear stuff that's said on different networks. I really don't want to have that debate. The way I've been treated by the left, the liberals, the progressives, it ain't pretty. So I don't even feel like wasting your time trying to distinguish between the two. But I'll just say this. Yes, there's been a problem with comedy. Comedy has been hampered by the political environment where the oversensitivity of all the critics and the audience, frankly. And frankly, it's not even the audience. It's people who don't like a certain comedian, go, or in some cases, don't even pay to see him. Catch them with their subscription, their $20 in Netflix, and are disappointed. Anyway, here goes comedy's Jim Gaffigan with a few words about what it's like working in the era of what it was like working in the Biden era and trying to tell jokes when Biden was president.
People were like, don't criticize her. And I thought was interesting about this election is, and maybe because it was so important, and maybe because it was such a short election for Kamala, that people were like, don't criticize her. And my whole thing is like, well, that is, and I'm not somebody who's a roast guy.
Hold on a second.
It was interesting.
Hold on a second. What do you say here? Guys, cut your volumes up a little bit. This file is a little funky. But it's not too bad. It's not great, but it should be able to hear it. He's talking about Kamala Harris. He's talking about the word around town was not to make jokes about Kamala.
What I thought was interesting about this election is, and maybe because it was so important, and maybe because it was such a short election for Kamala, that people were like, don't criticize her. And my whole thing is like, well, that is, and I'm not somebody who's a roast guy, but I'm like, that's actually bad to have that approach.
Yeah.
And I think hindsight, a lot of people feel that way. But
okay, that's it. Yeah, I notice Gaffigan is trying to make him laugh again. Yeah, Gaffigan's trying to make him laugh again. He's trying to kind of back away from some things he said previously. I remember he was apologizing because there were things that he said about Trump supporters, and then Trump supporters got on him because he did not take that advice about Trump. Now, he made a lot of stuff, but I never really found him that offensive. I mean, once again, this is a guy that talks mostly about food and about the awkwardness of life and finds little moments and stuff. So he's not really that guy. But I do agree. Yeah, not only was it not good to have people afraid to talk about Kamala, they weren't afraid. It was like they had an incentive to talk about Trump to the point where there was no good Trump material. I mean, at a certain point, they kind of ran that in the ground around 2018. It was kind of a wrap. I mean, that's when there's something really catastrophic, major. There was really nothing to talk about. They were still making Trump jokes when Trump wasn't even president. The only people that I heard make Biden jokes were like, maybe Cat Williams made a Biden joke, but it was kind of nice. I don't know. So yeah, I would say that due to, and I don't want to call it cancel culture because I heard a great way that Cat Williams put it. He said, there are a lot of people that complain. They say, hey man, we can't tell jokes because we got this cancel culture sitting around here. You can't say something to the extent of, hey, these people that say they're afraid to say certain things, they weren't that funny when they could say those things. Yeah, that are those people that are complaining about they can't say things. They can't be funny because they can't say certain things. Weren't funny before cancel culture, so-called cancel culture existed, proving that they just aren't funny. And if you can't replace the R word with learning disabled and make that funny, well, that's your fault. And I gotta agree. I mean, words are words, and it's all about how you say them, moron. So, but yeah, the political climate has been very sensitive. To that point, Stephen A. Smith sat down with Bill Maher. I should say Bill Maher sat down with Stephen A. Smith. They had a conversation about a number of things. One of those things was comedy. And it was the left, the right, and the difference between the two. So let's go to that.
Was a YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. My next guest is
Absolutely. Ed was, we're going to ask everybody in the government who has been staying home.
What are your thoughts about somebody that would sit back and say, okay, Elon Musk, I believe South African, obviously owns Tesla.
Twitter, because you'd be immediately excoriated because he kind of far-right people. So he also says things that are just not true very often. Money. There's certain number that I think we just have to say to somebody, okay, you won. Okay. Curious to see what he's going to do, because again, America, it's not
things that I called him. I said, listen, he's not a lieutenant or a general or Dave Rubin, I'm sure.
Okay, here we go.
He needs to go in there and do what he proposes to do, but we'll see in execution. Everything is in the details.
I recently sat down with a guy by the name of Dave Rubin. I'm sure you are aware of who he is.
Yeah, I know Dave. I went to a Laker game with him.
That's right. He bragged about going to the Lakers game with you. I told him you and I went to a Lakers game together.
Yes, we did.
As well recently. And he and I just finished talking. And one of the things that I called him, I said, listen, he's not a lieutenant or a general or whatever, but let's say he is, meaning Bill Maher, consider me a soldier, because I stand directly behind him in support of all the things that he has said, particularly over the last several years about the left and how the left pretty much lost its way. Getting personal with you for a second, how difficult, if difficult at all, has it been for you to deal with some of the things that have been thrown in your direction just because you were on your show telling the truth about what the left did wrong and how it got in its own way and what it needed to do to fix the party? Your thoughts?
Stephen A., you can't have everything. That's what you come to if you live long enough. Would I like to have everybody on my side? Would I like to have everybody be my fan? Of course. Was it not great when some super woke people left because I wasn't on their page? Yeah, I wish everybody was still my fan. But you can't have that. Do I think I deserve a bunch of Emmys that I would never get because this town is woker than I am? Yeah, I do. I don't think we have the same criteria about what constitutes excellence. It's okay. You can't have everything. I would take 1,000,000 times, if you offered it to me, against those things, the joy of being able to speak my mind as I see it, and the love that gets me from people, from all stripes, who appreciate that. The things that people say to me. I've been out with every type of celebrity. They don't say the things they say to me to other celebrities. That means more to me than anything.
Yeah, I want to just put that out, man. I kind of, I respect that. I respect what he's saying right here. Is that, you got to be able to say what's true to you. You got to be able to speak your truth, or what good is it? You know what I'm saying? I think some people have developed some type of lifestyles where they feel that they are unable to be in a position to speak the truth. But I think it's worth it. I don't even want to give you that, man. I hate to rain on your parade, but if you're in a job where you got to lie every day to everyone, you got to pretend that you believe in things you don't believe in order to keep your seat at the table, what good is that seat? And admit that you're a coward. And I think that's part of the problem some people have with me, is that I'm not a coward. And I'm not going to bite my tongue because you want to bite your tongue. You know what I'm saying? Or because you feel like you're getting so old, you got to go with bullshit. Okay? And then it becomes another wrinkle. This is probably not something that Bill Maher has to deal with. But the other wrinkle is, as a black man, I feel like there's certain things I got to say for my people. It's self-induced, man. I'm not required to say these things, but I feel it incumbent. I feel like it's important. I feel a responsibility to speak truth to power about my people, about what's going on. And I'm adamant about it. I won't back down. And the others will. And as I was telling Mrs. Black, I was telling my wife the other day, I was saying, I don't even want friends in this business anymore because they ain't going to do nothing but continue to disappoint me. I've been disappointed upon disappointed. And it's not a difference of opinion. People betray you, and people betray what they say they are over and over again in order to fit in with this damn Democratic Party, in order to survive this political environment. And I don't know who I'm more upset with. I don't know if I'm more upset with the people that cave in and give in to the nonsense, or the people that cause them, the people that run the machine. So I really got smoke for the people that run the machine. My animosity about the Democratic Party is built on sound ground, sir and ma'am. It's built on firm, solid, steel, concrete, triple steel, triple Teflon, titanium. Believe that. It ain't built on no shaky ground, no soft earth. Nah, it's built on some serious tundra. So part of my anger towards the Democratic Party is what it's done to people. I got people that I know are freedom fighters, that are adamant and serious in their heart, but when it comes out, they're always thinking about what's going to happen to them. What's going to be the price they have to pay? That's because this machine is dirty. It's dirty. So anyway, I agree with Bill here. I agree with Bill that it's more important to be able to speak your mind. He's got more comments. Let's hear what he says here a little bit later.
Which again, it probably was now, we know. That should tell you all you need to know. The fact that Justin Trudeau just stepped out, they're going to say, don't say that because it's not all Muslims. Well, no one's saying it's all Muslims. We're saying we need to discuss about this honestly and openly and patently, and you can't do that if somebody's looking over your shoulder and saying, well, this is going to hurt somebody's feelings. Okay, feelings are not as important as the First Amendment.
Fair enough. And it's one of the things that people allude to and complain about, as you have, about the left because of woke culture. With that being said, one would ask Bill Maher, in this day and age, why would you still call yourself a liberal or a Democrat as opposed to an independent, considering how you thinking and how polar opposite that appears to be to what's transpired with the Democratic Party? Because I'm reading this article from the Wall Street Journal, and essentially, to paraphrase, not your exact words, but you were talking about, what you still consider yourself, but that party is not the party that I've been looking at in recent memory.
Yeah, well, I've always been an independent. I mean, I never threw in with the Democrats because I always knew they'd disappoint me at some point. But
I've joined your party. I've joined your party.
Yeah, but old school liberal, yes. I mean, that's, I think, what I always was and always will be. As I say in the special, the people who are saying, oh, you're a Republican now. No, I'm not a Republican, and I never will be a Republican for all the reasons I haven't been. They're too religious. They're fiscal hypocrites who think it's awful when America spends money it doesn't have, except when they're in office, and then it's always perfectly okay. They're in denial about racism. They're in denial about the environment. They're always blaming the underprivileged when they should be blaming the overprivileged. And then they added to that shitty mixtape, they don't believe in democracy anymore. And they threw their lot in with a sociopath named Donald Trump, who thinks that elections only count when they win. So they have a sizable lead in being the more threatening party, I think, to this country. But that doesn't mean I'm going to hold my tongue about what I think is wrong about the left. And I don't. And there's a lot. And old school liberal, I could give you so many examples. It's a very big part of the show where I'm talking about the fact that people somehow think that wokeness is an extension of liberalism. when very often it's the opposite of liberalism. I mean, just like the Israel situation, the liberal position has always been a two-state solution. I still think that's the solution.
Okay. All right. There are things that Bill said here that I agree with and some things I totally disagree with. Let's go with what I disagree with because it's more fun that way. I disagree with this whole framing that you're independent. You're not an independent. Have you ever supported anybody that was not the Democratic Party nominee? You're not an independent. Okay? If you ain't never voted Green or voted Republican, either other party, then you're not an independent, especially if you got a platform. A lot of people say they're independent when they're not independent. They just say it because it sounds good. Hell, Roland Martin says he's an independent. He's there. He's up here taking $350,000, almost $500,000, over $250,000 from Kamala Harris, and then interviewed her later. And he calls himself an independent. Mercenary might be a better term. And every time a Republican comes on, it's like he's on a quest for gold, or I don't know. He's like the hitman in The Professional. He's Leon the hitman on The Professional. Leon the Professional. Yeah, that's what he is. Or he's playing Blade and he's got to kill the Earthwalkers or something. It's a zombie apocalypse and he's got to destroy all the zombies. Yeah, when it's a Republican, it's always a black Republican that comes on his show. And for some reason, they're not prepared to deal with Roland talking over them, yelling in the mic and cutting down their mic. Like they're not prepared for that. So anyway, but yeah, this whole idea that you could just say I'm independent, but not actually. Yeah. But for him, it's different. I say for Bill Maher, it's different slightly because he does criticize the Democratic Party a lot more than Roland does. Roland Martin only criticizes the Democratic Party when it's about them not giving him more money. It's like he sold his soul and now he wants a do-over about the price, the bargain of the price. But so anyway, it's not just him, it's several other people that this whole old school liberal thing. Yeah, I mean, whenever I hear people say I like the old school liberals, it's got David Rubin that used to work for TYT, used to call himself, I'm an old school liberal. Meaning he doesn't like the whole, I don't know, all the new things that people want. You know what I'm saying? But he likes to take credit for school integration, for instance, but he doesn't want to take credit for, he doesn't want to be a part of any talks for like reparations or ending wars or, I don't know, federal job guarantees. He's not interested in any of those things. So I think that's kind of wacky. That reminds me of Malcolm X saying, our biggest enemy is not the conservative, not the redneck, not the Dixiecrat, but the liberal. Because they'll give you the fake facade that they're on your side. And all the time, they got that knife out hitting you in the back like this, going at you with the shanks. They're the ones that are telling you, hey, no, we don't want to go too fast. We're going to get to that. If we listen to liberals, we probably still be in chains. It took a radical to get that done. Not liberal. But that's what Bill wants to be. That's what he says he still is. He says he's a liberal, an independent liberal. That's crazy. An old school liberal. So yeah, that's weird. Stephen A. Smith, man, his platform is growing. It's going better than Don Lemon's platform. I saw Don Lemon basically doing cooking cookies or something. He was trying to get into trends on TikTok to try to raise money for his program. You wouldn't think he would have to do that after making so much money with CNN. I don't know what's going on, man. He can't crack 400,000. And we got Stephen A. Smith celebrating $1 million. That must be one of the reasons why he has something crawled up his woo-wah the other day when he was talking about some stuff. Because it's gotta hurt to be like Don Lemon, to be that guy for CNN. And then Stephen A. Smith is like lapping you. Your job was to speak the news. But we got Stephen A. Smith getting better numbers than Don Lemon. Like, what the hell's going on? So, yeah, it's kind of funny. Where were we at? Okay, back to Bill Maher. The criticism about the left. I love talking about the left. I love to criticize them. They deserve criticism. So does the right. So does the center. So does, and when I say center, I'm thinking about liberals. They all deserve criticism. But at the end of the day, that's not going to change policy. And that's really what it's all about. It's about policy. It's about putting resources into our communities. The Black community needs that. We need a voice for that. That's right. So we got to keep it raw to give the type of news and truth that the Black community deserves. And that's what the Timberlake Show is all about. That's our tagline. That's what we're striving to do. So anyway, so it doesn't matter what the name of the party is. It really doesn't. All right, guys, I got one more clip. I saw this. This was interesting, right? Jimon Honsu. Jimon Honsu is an actor. You may have seen him before. He's in this clip and he's talking about how hard it's been to be an actor in Hollywood over the last 2-3 decades.
Struggling financially to make a living, struggling trying to make a living.
After 30 years in this business.
I've been in this business and making films now over 2 decades, and still, with 2 Oscar nominations, many big blockbuster films, and yet I'm still struggling financially to make a living. I'm definitely underpaid.
How has Hollywood changed in terms of African representation in what you see since you started out to what's being produced now?
I was nominated for a Golden Globe, but they ignored me for the Oscars, talking about the fact that they thought that I had just came off the boat and off the streets. Even though I successfully did that, they just didn't feel like I was an actor for whom we should pay any respect to. So this conceptual idea of diversity, it still has a long way to go. Systemic racism don't change like that anytime soon.
Growing up, you're one of the first big Black actors I saw in big budget films. So it's mind-boggling to me.
But that's a sign for you that systemic racism is not something that you can deal with lightly. You have to cope with it and survive the best way you can.
I found this clip very interesting because, for one, Jamal, he's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah, this guy's been in a lot of stuff. When I saw this, I said, this can't be this guy. I looked him up. I thought he had made about $30 million. How do you run through $30 million? I mean, I know it's the way to do it. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Was it Kamar Lee Simmons? Were you trying to keep up with the Kamar Lee Simmons money? Was that what was happening? I know he buried Russell Simmons' ex, and they were together for a while, and now they're not. I don't know what he's talking about, but here we go. I want to bring people up to speed on what kind of roles this guy's had. Amistad, remember that back in 97? Gladiator, The Four Feathers, In America, Constantine, Blood Diamond, Never Back Down, Push, Guardians of the Galaxy, Furious 7, The Legend of Tarzan, Aquaman, Shazam, A Quiet Place Part 2, The Kingsman, Shazam, Father of the Gods. Now that Shazam, I heard that was horrible. But Shazam should have been Shadam. Heard that was not a good movie to see at all. Like, damn, who wrote this? Can you fight? Let's go outside and see. Because Shazam was horrible. But how could you be in all those movies and still not have paper? That's crazy, man, what he's talking about here. I want to know what people think about this segment, what they think about what they just heard. Jamon is talking about his pockets are tight. He's been in the business over 20 years, and he's financially up against the wall. Is this just a way for the Hollywood types to get more money? I think it worked for that guy who used to be in the Cosby Show. Remember him? He was like working at Walmart or something. People were making fun of him. Maybe it's a publicity play. I don't know. But this clip is from 2023. So I don't know if it worked or not. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe that's why he did it. Because he was in a Shazam movie in 2023. He was like, man, I got to change the narrative. I had to do that role. I needed the money. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Well, this is all I know is that Jamon is a damn good actor. There are a lot worse actors that I think are not having the financial issues that he's having. Someone made a comment that said Tim Blackwell, his accent maybe was holding him back. I'm like, nah, that guy's good. He could like be in anything. Like, just change it up. He doesn't have to try to play MLK. He could play an African dude. Why has he got to change it up? They need to write roles for Africans and stop writing roles just for Black Americans and then putting Africans in them as if we don't know the difference. But I don't think that's what's stopping him at all. If anything's stopping him, I don't think it's his accent. He's damn good. I thought he was a damn good actor. He is a damn good actor. I've liked every role I've seen him in. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section, man. I just know that I get this funny feeling as he was talking. They probably put him, maybe it's Hollywood, the politics of Hollywood and things you got to say. Can't just, I don't know. I remember back when Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith was saying that the Hollywoods were racist, the Oscars were racist Oscars, and people were all upset about actors not getting their money. I remember when Taraji Henson was complaining. I'm not getting my money. They took my money. I was thinking, hey, everybody's money's jacked up. Why come regular people can't get as upset about the stars' money? Can't they be that upset about their own money? About the money of the person that work across the street? Taraji's going to be fine. Will Smith is fine. He good. Him and Jada Pinkett Smith are good for the rest of their lives. And their children are going to be good unless they develop some very bad habits. But, nah, man, your next door neighbors, your cousins, your sisters, your uncles, your friends, they're the ones that may live outside if things take a bad turn any day now. 40% of Americans can't afford a $400 emergency. You heard what I'm saying? You got $400? There are people living worse than you. Talking about stability. I covered a story earlier this week where Representative Jasmine Crockett was talking about we need to send money to other countries to help them be stable. What? Most of Americans aren't stable. Half of America can't afford an emergency of $400 or more. What are you talking about? You're talking about we need to make it stable in Chile? Now, I agree we should not be interfering with the politics during our regime change excursion adventures and ruining the lives of people in Latin America and abroad. But when it comes to trying to stabilize a country, let's start with ours. Talk about that. Talk about being out of touch. It is like when I hear these people talk and make these horrible statements. We need to stabilize other countries, have some compassion. Meanwhile, we got 50% of the homeless crisis is Black American families. Meanwhile, we got 40% of the homeless of the poverty rate. 40% of Black children living beneath the poverty line. Something like 40% can't read on grade level. We got this person talking about we need to help stabilize other countries outside of America and feel good about it and shut up and be glad Joe Biden was your president. Talking nonsense crazy. And then hearing nothing hurts more than hearing that, knowing the stats and then hearing somebody say that and then have a journalist not check it. And then have people in the comment section that appear to be real people, because one never knows, but they appear to be real people, defend her. And tell me, give her grace. Get off the crack pipe. You should be saying give it a business. Because that's all I got for is the business. All right, guys, my name is Tim Black. You know what to do. Hit the like button on this video. Share it with someone. God, I got caught up tonight. I was so involved, man. I'm so connected with my audience. You know? Forgot to tell you to hit the like button. But hit the like button, share it with a friend, let people know that you're watching the Tim Black Show. Because the raw truth, what we do here on the Tim Black Show is we deliver the raw truth that the Black community deserves. And it ain't too late. It's not too late. But we got to step it up, guys. We got to mash the pedal. We got to say it like we mean it. We got to walk like we try to get somewhere. So that's what time it is. Send your comments or send your suggestions, your support to tim@timberlacketv.com. You can find me on all major platforms. And yeah. Let's go to comments, man. Who's in the house? Whose house? Run's house. Black Mama's in the house. Head over to TBTV shop. Order a coffee mug at the Tim Black coffee mug at timblackmug.com. Arlene Chambers is in the house, and she says, Happy Friday, Tim. Happy Friday, Arlene, my sister. The Revelators in the house. 2024 was the year of revelation. 2025 will be the year of consequences. Ooh, consequences that Bass will suffer dearly for politically and emotionally. Well, I don't care about her emotions. I care about the political implications, and I care about her career politically as it impacts us. Okay, she'll be fine. Karen Bass is fine. But I understand your point, Revelator, and I appreciate it. Megs has come through to give, yes, another membership gift. 5 membership gifts from the one and only Megs. Give it up for Megs, y'all. And somewhere out of the background, into the front, is my friend Dana Mitchell with $100. Love the Black and Wolfpack family. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate you. Give it up for Dana Mitchell, y'all. Dana Mitchell, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for supporting what we do. And wow, didn't expect that. You made our day, made our Friday a little bit brighter, sister. Thank you so much for what you do. Look, guys, let's keep the party going. Let's keep the shows going. Let's make it happen. Become a member of the Tim Black Show. Go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live, to do that. Tim's Take Live, do that there. Or type in join timblack.com. All right. We're back in the sea. We're back and rolling, Buck. How we doing, fam? I'd like to say what's up to my man Oz. Hope that you and your family are well. All the members of the support system of the Tim Black Show that have been with me for years, and some of my new people too. My new people are making a dent now. Thank you so much. Let's keep going. I am no ways tired. Wow. All right, guys. Have a safe weekend. Everybody have a safe weekend. Do that for us. Don't forget the mugs are still on sale. This great mug, this Tim Black mug, Politics for the People, is available. Next week, I'm gonna make an announcement. You might want to hold on to next week because we're going to come up with something where if you become a member at a certain level, and I think it'll be like $10 level for 3 months, you get a free mug. So I'm thinking about doing that. I know how that sounds. Maybe I'll run a poll to see if that works. Get what I'm saying? Because I think people need an incentive. And this may help them because things are tight. And I'm sitting here with 93 mugs or 92 mugs. And, well, 91, 92. I see you soon. Remember, guys, don't let anybody take your cornbread. Don't let them take your cornbread. Keep your cornbread. Have a great weekend once again. I'm Tim Black. I'm out. From all of the blacks to all of you, have a great weekend. I love you. And as always, where are my ladies at? Ladies. I say this to my wife all the time. I say, when she's sitting there, it's a lot of hair doing in this house, okay? We got 4 girls in one house. It's like when they're all in the same room and everybody's got their hair out, and I walk into the room and I say, do you have to have all the ladies? Do you have to have all the girls? And it's a line from, who knows where that line is? There it goes. There's a line. I use it all the time, okay? And it goes like this. Do you have to have all the girls? If you remember who gave that line, the first one to put it in the comment section, what movie that's from, I'm going to send you a mug. All right? So look, just do it and send that to me, because I need it. You know what? It's got to be an email. Email me, tim@timberlandtv.com, because it'll be time-stamped. So make sure you send it before you type it, okay? Because I just want to get your address and send you out a mug. And the tagline is, do you have to have all the girls? It's from a movie. I use it all the time. Once again, when I'm talking to my wife, I come into a room, I see 4 beautiful black women, all with natural hair. And their hair is in different stages of being whatever women do to their hair. And I go, do you have to have all the girls? And we both laugh because we both know where that's from. All right, I love y'all. I'll see you soon. Wolfpack.